Hello and welcome guys, my name is Soham and I'll be your host for the third iteration of the Great Indian Esports Raffle where we discuss everything Indian and everything esports. A little housekeeping before we get started. We will be trying to present ourselves in a way where we assume that the listener does not know anything but the basics of the Indian domestic circuit around Dota 2, Counter-Strike and the many other tiny titles that are involved in the scene. First episode we performed an exegesis of UCypher where me and Rats broke down the entirety of the show into its basic components and exposed it for what we consider it to be. Second episode we had Sarvesh, Diokar and Anand Tapadia discussing their life and times in esports. You should really go check out these two episodes. They provide a lot of information on everything you would ever want to come to know on the scene. We'd also like to take this time out to appreciate all the feedback, the likes, shares and subscribe that we at ASidCast have got from you guys. So thanks a lot for that. So now, about the guest of this evening, we have Sid Joshi. For those of you who do not know, he's a mainstay and heavyweight of the Indian esports scene. He's been there since the beginning of what you can call the contemporary modern era of the Indian growth in esports, and his life and times from NeckBreak to NTT Gaming, we have it all to discuss and bring it to you. So without further ado, I bring you NTT Gaming's de facto leader, Sid Joshi. I'm here with Sid Joshi. Sid Joshi, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks man, thanks for having me.
Okay, so if you could just tell our viewers your current designation right now.
So currently I'm working as the senior talent manager in NTT Gaming, and currently I'm in Manila with the Dota 2 squad.
Alright, that sounds awesome. So what's been occupying your time lately?
So many things, dude. The recent Dota 2 roster shuffle, the CSGO, the Paladin squad, and we are also planning on expanding a little bit. Can't talk about it much because it's still in the works, but most of my time this past month or two has been in the expansion plans and the Dota 2 roster as well. So it's working out well, but yeah, that's what's been taking my time.
Sounds great. So a quick rundown for our viewers. The first half we will be discussing various topics and headlines that are currently ruling the Indian esports community. We will then approach his exciting life and times inside Indian esports in the second half. So quickly on the topics of the day, the first topic that we are going to discuss is Riot games coming in India. Now this question I posed to Sid Joshi simply because, well, his involvement in the LoL scene has been something of more than just an observer. So Sid, what are your thoughts on Riot's move to come in India?
I mean, it's about time, right? League of Legends players in India have been suffering for a really, really long time. We don't have proper servers. We have ping issues. We have no proper events. We don't have any official body that does League of Legends in India. And considering how big the game has been since 2009, I mean, it doesn't make sense that Indian players don't even get a chance to compete at the best possible level. I mean, we have some really good players and they don't get any opportunity to play. So I think it's about damn time Riot comes to India, and I'm very happy. Like, I've been very close to Anurag, the country head of India, and I do know what his plans are. The plans have been delayed a little bit because from what I know and what I've come to know of Riot is that Riot doesn't do anything half-assed. Like, if they want to do something, they want to do it to perfection. So even though it's being delayed, I'd rather have it delayed because it's delayed anyway. Like, it's delayed by like 3-4 years anyway. Might as well wait a couple of more months and have like a perfect scenario where esports and casual gamers, I think improve together. So it's good. Like, Riot coming to India, and I think it's not just League of Legends, but Riot coming to India is going to change esports overall, because the way they do their events, the way their production is done, the way they are like everything Riot does is almost done to perfection, and it'll be done in India. So I don't know if you know about this, but Riot doesn't outsource anything. So even if let's say tomorrow Riot does an event in India, they're not going to hire somebody to do, like, they're not going to hire an Indian company to do it for them. They're going to call their staff from abroad and they're going to do the event. So it's going to be the same level like NALCS or EULCS. So that's what I like about Riot Games. I feel like they're going to set a real big standard for everybody else who's in the industry, like, I don't know, Nodwin or ISC or all the other big guys. But yeah, I think Riot's Riot going to change Indian esports in the next 2-3 years probably.
So to summarize what you're saying that their involvement is going to create a ripple in the scene, which is going to work for the better. And you certainly are among the hopeful and the optimists for this entire procedure, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I've followed Riot games since 2009. I was one of the beta gamers. I've played this game since it's come out. I've seen this game grow. I've seen the community grow. It's a wonderful company, dude. I don't think there's any possibility of Riot Games failing in India. It's not gonna happen.
All right, there you have it. Now coming to our second topic, this thing I think we've talked about it at ASidCast for a very long time, but this time we are going to add a lot more to this discussion, the discussion of UCypher. So the first point I think that we both accept and agree on is that UCypher is a disaster. Let's accept it. There's no moving beyond that.
Absolutely.
Now, to shed some more light on this thing, ETG was offered a place in UCypher, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes.
Now, if you could be so kind as to tell us, what were the behind-the-scenes affairs which led to ETG refusing the details? If you could make some intricacies of this entire thing public to add to the discussion. Go for it.
Sure, I don't mind. So when we heard about UCypher, even initially when we heard about it, we weren't very excited because the idea of taking a team of 5 players and splitting them up into different teams for a period of 2 months doesn't make sense. I mean, IPL, yes, it does work because when IPL is going on, there's literally nothing else going on. But that's not how esports works. If you're going to tell me that my players are going to be split up for 2 months, in 2 months, there's fucking 50 different events they're going to lose out on. Practice time, everything. They're going to lose so much. So we weren't very excited, but when we were called for the meeting, we went there with an open mind. We wanted to see what they had in store for us. So it was me, Nirav, Ayush, and Darshan from the Dota 2 squad. These are the 4 people that went there. Honestly, the first meeting we had was a disaster because they said they wanted our players, which first of all we were against. So we said, if you want our players, you keep them in one team and then we might reconsider, because as entity giving our players to you for a period of 2 months, we don't earn anything out of it. We're not getting
You're saying
marketing.
the trade-off was not worth it.
It absolutely wasn't, right? Because entity, they wouldn't use entity as one of the teams.
Obviously,
right?
The branding is lost there.
The branding is lost. You're using our players for 2 months. They're split up into different teams, so we are losing out on practice time. Then we asked them what kind of compensation would they give the players, to which they replied nothing, which was absolutely horrendous. I mean, because I think Nirav was there from a organization point of view. I was there from a player point of view. So I wanted to know what would my players get if they joined UCypher. Their only reply was, they get what's that word? They get recognition on Indian TV.
Exposure.
So, yeah, that's the word, right? Exposure. I said, I'd rather the players qualify for a minor and get worldwide exposure rather than have them, dance according to your fucking tunes on TV and make a fool of themselves, right? It doesn't make sense. That's how esports is. Would you rather have yourself be on Indian TV, or would you rather have some Indian team go to a big international event and perform there? Or
Certainly
like
the
that?
latter. Certainly the latter. It's
Right?
out of question.
So that was one of the points that put us off. Then we asked them, okay, for example, we have Simar from our team who's from Delhi, but your shooting will be in Mumbai. So who covers the travel and the stay? They say we don't do that. The player will have to do it themselves.
Okay.
What the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? You're talking about a show hosted by Ronnie Screwwala, which is going to air on fucking MTV every single day at 10 p.m. And see, my little brother works for TV, so I know for a fact that getting 1 hour daily on MTV at 10 o'clock, which is fucking prime time, that's not cheap, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
That's
expensive as
That's
fuck.
a good point.
It's expensive. So when you're ready to shell out so much money for that sport, how do you not give the players anything out of it? What are the players supposed to make out of it? Exposure is not enough, dude. Exposure is not enough.
Near enough.
And And I'll tell you. Okay, I'll come to that later, but I'll tell you about the meeting first. So again, that was another thing that we didn't like. The point where we just said flat out no and got out of the meeting was when one of the guys there, I don't know what his name was, the one with the beard. So when he realizes that we are not going to allow our players to join, he goes to the players and he asks them in front of us, the manager and the owner of entity, asks the players, but doesn't your contract have an exit clause? So like if you want to join UCypher, you can just exit. Yeah, in front of us. He does this in front of us. So we lost it at that point. We said, okay, you know what? If you want our players, they're free to join UCypher, but they'll be leaving entity. So I'm going to go back to the boot camp. We're going to discuss this with the players. They're free to join UCypher as long as they leave entity, but as entity, we're not going to we won't be a part of UCypher.
All right.
And I think that's one of the best decisions we've made in our entire organizational history, because you see the kind of joke UCypher is right now. I mean, honestly,
they've become the butt of all jokes, if you can.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Bangalore for IGS, and I decided, you know what, let's not be sheep. I decided I was gonna watch UCypher with an open mind, so I sat down at 10 in the hotel. I figured, I mean, one of the basic problems of India is because 10 people are saying something, the 11th tends to follow him. I didn't want to do that, so I figured let me just watch UCypher, let me see how it is, and let's see what it feels like. So I started the show. First of all, I lost it when they used cyber athletes. What the fuck is a cyber athlete? I mean, you're hosting a fucking show, prime time. Can't you even do a little bit of research when you know the correct terms?
Multi-game, multi-platform. First of
multi-game. I mean, yeah. Technically, it's correct, right? Because it's mobile, it's console, and it's PC. So technically, it's correct. But just because you want to be the first, I mean, I don't get the fetish these people have with becoming the first in India. What is? I mean, I don't get it. It's unbelievable that everybody has to add some element to their product which makes it India's first.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have noticed
that's
that everybody wants to promote.
Has. True.
Yeah, I mean, do they not realize that India has been fucked before by people like IGS and Lenovo? So India's not a virgin anymore. Stop calling it India's first. Yeah.
True.
Because India has been fucked before royally a lot of times in the past. So stop calling your product India's first. It's not. Or if you're going to call it India's first, do some fucking research, because UCypher, shit like UCypher has been done before, and I do remember one of the shows. I don't remember the name of that show, but it literally killed Indian esports at that point of time. It almost killed Indian esports. I think it was Games Bond or the one before that. I don't remember which one. Because I was talking to Blay and I was talking to Prashant. I was in Bangalore when UCypher. Right. So getting back to the point, I was watching UCypher. The first word they use is cyber athletes, which triggered me a lot. I said it's not cyber athletes. There's no word that just doesn't
designation
exist.
does not apply.
Yeah. It's what's the correct word? It's in oh fuck, I forgot the term now.
You can stick to esports players or something, I guess.
No, there's a term for it, right? For athlete, there's a term for it. I don't remember the term right now.
I'm not so able to recollect it anyways. Anyways, let's move ahead, I guess.
So, and then I started watching the show. So, my problem with the show, I'll tell you, not as a gamer or somebody from esports, my problem with the show is, first of all, you called it an esports show. It's not esports.
It isn't. Exactly. That's very true.
It's not esports.
It's a reality show first.
Yeah, you call it entertainment, that's fine with me, but that is not esports. Esports is where first of all, you're shown the full fucking game.
Yes.
I mean,
where people are not making a fish market out of a Tekken game.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's not even highlights. You guys aren't even showing highlights. You finish a CSGO game in 5 minutes, a Dota game in 5 minutes is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
We can look at the time they're dedicating to each segment. You've got 10 minutes of drama and 5 minutes of gameplay. That is not esports.
Exactly. Then you have cricket. I mean, see, I'm one of those guys who doesn't judge a game like people are like, Hearthstone esports thodi hai, Rainbow Six esports thodi hai.
People do not understand that point.
It can be esports.
Yeah.
It can be esports.
True.
But a game like cricket, right? where you're giving him 1 over each, where it's just batting only, how is it esports? That is not esports.
Yes, true.
Yeah, you give them a full match, 50 overs, or let's say a 20-20, where there's strategy, where you're deciding what bowler you want to use. If you want to use a spinner or a fast bowler, or I don't know, a swing guy. I don't follow cricket, so I don't know much, but that's where the strategy element comes into play. It's 1 over is not esports.
True.
The only reason they included cricket is so that they can call themselves
multi-platform.
What was the word? Multi-platform. Yeah, that's the only reason I find. Okay, so that's one of my problems. But number one, it's not esports. Number two is, let's say I'm not from esports, I'm not a gamer, I'm just a general guy who wants to watch the show for entertainment. Like, let's say like Splitsvilla or Roadies or Big Boss.
The reality show part.
Yeah, my problem is there's no fucking entertainment in the show as well.
I mean, we probably aren't better judges for how a reality show constitutes itself, but I can see why you're saying that.
If I showed it to my mother or some of my relatives and I told them, you know what, this is not esports, but this is a gaming show, it's like Big Boss, because my mother watches Big Boss, she's a big fan of Big Boss. She saw one episode of UCypher, she saw it for 5 minutes and she was like, I don't think I want to watch this anymore. Because number one, there's no esports. Number two, there's no entertainment as well. You're putting people who are not camera friendly in front of the cameras and asking
I guess
them to
other
do
than
shit.
Venom, everybody does a bad job, if you agree on that.
Yeah, because Venom's a professional model, dude. That's what he does in his free time. So Venom's camera friendly. Venom can do it. Nobody else can. We gamers are shy. They're not used to the cameras.
And then they end up making it awkward, which just worsens the entire deal.
Yeah, and the problem is they're so awkward on camera is that the people now feel the show is scripted. But I can tell you, I can vouch for the show. The show is not scripted.
Okay.
The show is 100% not scripted. It's not scripted at all.
That's just how bad we gamers are.
Yeah, you see how bad it is that it seems scripted because they act really fake on camera. But people don't realize that it's not fake. It's just how they are in front of the cameras.
I see.
That's how bad the show is. So that's how I feel about UCypher. There's no esports. There's no entertainment. Why are people watching the show?
I don't think
what do you watch
at this point? Most of them have given up from what I've been able to gather. But I think we've spent enough time on this. Any concluding remarks you would like to give on this?
Concluding remarks. Oh, I'd like to also tell you about one instance where when the show just started, right, and people were thrashing the show left, right, center. The funniest thing is one of the management guys from UCypher calls a player and tells him, "Why are you not defending UCypher on social media?" I mean, I don't want to name the player or the management that did this.
Okay, yeah.
But this guy was like very neutral and he didn't want to like support or bash anyone, so he was very quiet. And the management called him in front of me and asked him like, "Why are you not supporting UCypher? You should go fight with the rest. It's your show, dude. It's giving you exposure." I mean, yeah, that's how terrible that show is right now. Yeah.
All right. That's a good place to stop that discussion. Anyways, the next ones, we are now going to be concerning ourselves with ETG is changing through the years, how it has shaped itself, and how they have come from humble beginnings to where they are. So, first up, the first iteration of ETE, Entity Esports. How did Sid Joshi become a part of this organization? Go for it.
Right, so back then I was a part of NeckBreak. This is during ESL Challenger in Pune. I think you and I met there as well.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, so Nirav got in touch with me because he wanted to get into League of Legends.
Okay.
And we met at Challenger for the first time where we discussed like what players he should take. Obviously I wasn't playing because I was injured, but like I knew the scene very well, so he wanted to get in touch. We met and then we decided we'd meet again at the boot camp.
Okay.
So the next time we met was at the Santa Cruz boot camp where the point of me going there was to discuss about League of Legends and stuff like that. And that's when Neera was like, "What are you getting paid in NeckBreak?" I said, "This is the amount I'm getting paid in NeckBreak right now." So he goes, "Why don't you join Entity?" It was Beyond Infinity at that point of time. He's like, "Why don't you join BI?" I said, "Fine, what do you offer me?" He said, "Look, I've just started, so I'm not going to give you any salary. I'm going to keep you as trial." And I don't know, I mean, it was I don't know if it was my gut feeling or I just liked Nirav as a person.
Pure intuition,
immediately, maybe intuition, I think so. I immediately said yes. So I went from having a salary to saying yes to a guy who just told me I'm not going to pay you a salary.
Interesting.
Yeah, I literally
start.
said yes. I said yes at the same time, and he said, I mean, great. I mean, let's again meet up in a couple of days, and then we can discuss the fine print. And after that, the BI Invisible Wings merger happened.
Okay.
So the next time I went back to the boot camp was when the merger happened, and I was with both the owners, and then we decided. So because both of these had merged, I was actually paid a salary, so I didn't work for entity without a salary. They decided a nice salary for me, and we started working. In fact, I'm the one who came up with the name entity as well.
Oh, okay.
Because when I heard about the merger, my job wasn't confirmed back then. So I was home talking to Bacha, and he was like, dude, just help me suggest some names, because these guys are coming up with like really weird fucking names. One of the names was Frozen Phoenix or something.
Okay.
And then we started laughing because how the fuck can a phoenix be frozen? I mean, it didn't make sense. So like I came up with two names. One was obviously because of Bacha was in the team, so I suggested Devious.
Okay.
The reason I suggested Devious was you could like as a tag you could just use DV and S and it would still sound the same. So DVS would sound as Devious when you just read it in as a tag.
Okay.
My other option was Entity, because obviously two biggest companies of Indian esports coming together forming one big entity. So it made like more sense
I can
structure wise.
Yep.
And again, the tag was also a plus point. Like you could just write N, T, and T, and it still would sound like entity. So that's how I came up with the name. And as you know, the rest is history. I've been working with Nirav ever since, and don't plan to quit anytime soon.
That's great. That's great to hear. So now, regarding ETG, let's talk first on the CSGO team. First up, the ETG and Dare to Dream Eternal Esports story. Afterthoughts. What are your thoughts on the entire debacle that happened? You know, like, to put it in a few more words, clearing a shaft, shedding some light. What would you like to add to the discussion on that entire controversy that had happened? And
look,
was
I mean,
the raging discussion, I would say, of the entire community.
See, what happened back then, I think most of the people know about the reality of everything that happened. Like, I don't want to talk about it right now because it's all sensitive information, but I'm sure like most of the people have heard about it. And, you know, like, honestly, who's having the last laugh, dude? I mean, I still have a team. I have a winning team. What do they have right now? The team split up. One guy ran off to a foreign country. One guy quit. One guy moved to brutality. What's the point? I mean, why would you do it for 2 months?
What was the point of that ordeal? Is what you would like to say.
The worst part is, right, whenever I sign a player, I make it very clear. Like, this is your career. Let's say we are giving you, example, 100 rupees a month as a salary. If somebody offers you 200, that is fine. You leave because it's your career. You want to make money. You want to make this your profession. But there is a certain way you leave. You can't just get up one day and say, oh, he's giving me 200, I'm done, I'm going. That's not how esports works. The problem is most of the players in India, they have never worked a day in their life. They haven't worked a 9-to-5 job, so they don't know how this works.
Professionalism is where you're getting at, right?
Exactly. I mean, I've worked for people. I know how the whole hierarchy works of things. Like, I can't just decide one day, oh, I don't want to work here anymore, and I can't just walk off. I have a notice, or I speak to HR, or I speak to my boss. There's so many things I need to do before I can leave a job, and people don't realize this in India. And look what happened. I mean, the worst part was, I don't know if you've heard of this, but let's say I was giving them 100 rupees a month. They left my organization for somebody who was giving them 105 rupees a month.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what was the strangest thing about this, because
how do you tackle that now?
I mean, see, if a player wants to leave, he wants to leave. There's nothing you can do about it. You can put up the strongest contract or do whatever the fuck you want. But if a player doesn't want to play with your team, he wants to leave you. He wants to leave you. There is absolutely nothing. Yeah, you can get into the legal shit of it, but.
So, in final words, what would you like to say on the entire debacle?
The CSGO thing, right?
Yes.
I mean, if anyone's listening who's thinking about going semi-pro or pro in the future, decide with your fucking brain. Do not decide with your heart. Do not decide. See, money is going to come to you at some point of time. Money, yes, is important, but it's not the only thing that it's not the only thing that should affect your decisions, or motivate you. Like,
true.
I'm telling you right now, I said yes to working for entity when I wasn't offered a single rupee as salary, while I was working for an organization that paid me a salary. But I knew the kind of future entity would have. I call it intuition or call it, I don't know, it's gut feeling, but I knew entity would progress in the future, and I said yes to entity back then. So just, if you're listening to this, don't do what the CSGO guys have done, because look at them. They're literally untouchable right now. Nobody's going to pick them up. They've basically pretty much fucked their careers up, because, I mean, it was a good team. They won every single event in India, and now they're nowhere because the team split up. So just don't do it. Don't let money affect what decisions you take in your life. Like, just sit down and take the most logical decision you can. That's about it.
These things may sound very simple, but these actually end up making huge consequences that later we need to pay for, don't you think?
Look, esports on its own is like a very, very, very short career, right? A player will have a shelf life of, unless he's starting from like when he was 15, he has a lot of time, but usually a player will come into the limelight when he's like 20, 21, and by the time he's 26, 27, he's already done, because your reflexes take a hit, you're already old, you don't have the reaction time anymore.
Yep. So everything needs to be taken into account when you make decisions.
Exactly. Every day or every month you waste is important in esports. I think in esports, time is one of your biggest weaknesses and one of your biggest strengths. That's what I keep saying to players like Sai or Marzil. Like, their youngest, Sai is 19, Marzil is 20. The biggest advantage they have right now is time. They have so many more years to play. Whereas people like Anuj or people like, so Anuj is the oldest in the team, he's like 26. He doesn't have time. So he has just maybe 1 or 2 years left before he can shine, because he knows that after that it's not going to work out for him. So when you have an industry that's so short-lived, where you only get like 5 or 6 years to shine and make yourself a name, you cannot waste time. Like, it doesn't make sense. So every decision you make, every team you want to join, or everything you want to commit to, just make sure you're doing the right thing. That's it.
Yeah, these are, I think, very good advices that anybody trying to go semi-pro or pro should definitely listen. That being said, what lies in the future of ETG CSGO? Where do you see yourself in a year or so from the team's perspective?
Look, hopefully, with the kind of coaching Prashant's been giving us, and I also mentioned the expansion we are getting into. So we are getting into analysts, we're getting into support staff, because
that's great.
Yeah, that's something I feel is what separates us from outside teams as well. Like, people, Fnatic or say Virtus Pro, they have a huge team of support staff. So we are going to provide that to our players very soon as well. And what our aim in the next 1 year is to be at least, honestly, a realistic goal is to be top 5 in Asia, at least in this year itself.
I see.
Because see, if you're top 5 in Asia, you're basically top 50 in the world. Like, that's just how it works.
You can go for
if
that.
You're, I mean, if you're top 5 in Asia, you're already contending to be a world-class team, because, you know, one team from Asia is always going to go to a major or a minor. So, like, even if you're giving Tyloo a big tough fight on a good day, then you're a good team. Like, you've already made it. You're a successful organization or a successful team.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the aim is, and we do want to keep our CSGO team completely Indian, because, I mean, even though people make fun of it and people are like, oh, no Indian players and stuff like that, entity is an Indian organization. It'll always be an Indian organization with its roots in India. Yes, we will have multiple teams with international players, and I don't know what's wrong with people, but you should be happy that a company based from India has players from Cloud9 and Fnatic and TNC. I mean, that's a huge leap forward than what it was maybe 1 or 2 years ago. But yes, our CSGO team will always be Indian. It will always, so like this is just a sneak peek in the future. In the next 6 months or so, we'll also be starting a Dota 2 academy in India with young players.
Awesome. Is this the first time you're making this public?
This is the first time I'm making this public, yes. This is a part of our expansion plan. We'll be starting academy with all Indian young players. Obviously, Krish will most likely be a part of it because we've been supporting him for a while now, and he's doing really well.
I believe he even went in the divine leaderboards of SA.
Yes, I think he's top 1,000 or something. I do believe so. Yes. True. We will also have an exchange program where some of those players come to Manila and train with these guys as well.
Oh, that's great.
So yes, so that's in the works right now, but it should happen before the end of this year. Okay. So like finally people can stop complaining about not having Indian players in the Dota 2 squad.
True. So above organizational commitments, I see a strong sense of building a sustainable ecosystem also for the scene. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what we want to do in the future. I mean,
I think that's very applaudable.
Yeah, we want to get into everything. We want to get into everything that's possible for esports, like something like Mineski does in Philippines, where if you're a 7K player, you go on Mineski's payroll. I don't know if they're still doing it, but this was the case a couple of months ago before the medal system came into the picture. So I mean, we want to be at the center of esports in India. We want to be somebody, like if somebody talks about India, the first name that should come up should be Entity Gaming. That's what we want to be.
That's true. That I think already is becoming a reality.
It already is. I think so. It's becoming a reality. Yeah.
Definitely. And with that, let's conclude our topics on ETG CSGO and now on to the Dota team. First question: how has the return of investment looked like in all these roster changes that the Dota 2 roster of ETG has faced?
Right. So, I mean, honestly, if I tell you, our Dota 2 squad is not based on a ROI model.
Okay.
It's a loss-making venture for us since day one.
Okay.
But we're still gonna keep on doing it because, how do I explain? It's like high risk, high reward. Dota has always been high risk, high reward.
Okay.
Like you qualify for one major or one minor and you're sorted. That's just how Dota is.
I think this is a point that has missed the community, and it's good that you're coming up front and straight with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shy about it. It's never been something I'm afraid to talk about. It's always why do you think we keep on changing rosters? And it's not just us who keeps on changing rosters. Every single team in the world will change rosters unless it's somebody like EG or Liquid or something like that. They don't need to change their rosters as much because they're already successful. You don't fix something that's not broken.
They've found the secret that unlocks the riddle, which is making high returns in Dota.
They found the synergy, right? Yep. They found the right in Dota 2 or in any game for that matter. It's not about the mechanical skill or how good your players are. At the end of the day, it's purely based on the kind of synergy you get in those 5 players, and that's a winning formula.
True.
I mean, take CG for example. Last year, CG fucking wrecked the SEA scene.
Yep.
And who were those 5 players? They weren't anyone great.
They were no ones when they approached the scene, definitely.
Yeah, who was Boombax? Who was Fly Solo? I never heard about them. They were random Filipinos who made a team, but the synergy between them was so good that they wrecked almost everyone in SEA at that point of time.
True.
That's just how Dota 2 is, and we've been looking for that synergy for a very, very long time. We've tried it a lot in the past with Indian players, then with a mixed Filipino, then with a full Filipino. I honestly feel that with the European lineup that we have right now, I have found the synergy because when I walked into the bootcamp 3 days ago, it's such good vibes, man. It's just the vibes, the positive energy, the people around. it feels great to be here right now. They're all laughing, they're playing, they're very, very positive. I think we have found the synergy, and if we get a little bit of practice time, we will, do a much better. But yeah, to answer your question, there's no return on investment in Dota. It's a loss-making venture for us, but we'll keep on doing it for the next 10 years.
You, however, are more hopeful and optimistic than you've ever been in a very long time, you can say, right?
Yes, with this squad, yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's great to hear. Speaking of the squad, the Ar1se controversy. I believe both of us know this was coming from a long time. Anyways, we'll not spend a lot of time, we'll not delve a lot of time. Any final thoughts or points that you would like to add to the general public's idea and discussion of what happened?
I mean, I think my Reddit post made it very clear. It wasn't my Reddit post, somebody else posted, but the thing I posted on Facebook made it very clear on what happened.
True.
Again, I mean, I hope Ar1se would have listened to the advice I gave before in this podcast, where I said time is very important. Like, you make decisions, you make logical decisions. Like, I kept telling Ar1se, dude, you're either here or you're there. You're not in the middle. That's not how you decide for things in your life. He's a 25-year-old who keeps going yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I mean, what do you want in life?
That's not how it works. True.
That's not how it works. I mean, it's fine. It's either a yes, and then we are all good. If it's a no, then it's a no in time at the first place. You don't say no one day before the roster lock, because you not just fucked us, which is fine, we can work about it, but you fucked your friends who you've been playing with for the last 5, 6, 7 months. He was playing with Noya Heste for around 7 months, and they were apparently really, really good friends. And now he's broken their trust as well. Then he goes on stream. I mean, when you see my first post when I posted about Ar1se, I said that he has issues that couldn't be taken care of or something, some shit like generic shit like that. But because I didn't want to do that mudslinging, but then this guy goes on stream and he's like, oh, the organization knew since day one that I didn't want to come, and so did the players. That's what triggered me. I mean, that wasn't the truth. So I made the Reddit post, and now basically he's fucked his career up, because I don't think anyone's going to touch him. I mean, he didn't have much of a career to begin with, honestly.
Yep.
Honestly, he was just a solo queue, really famous solo queue pop star. Yeah, I mean, he got this opportunity where he was getting to play with good players from a different country. And he's just lost it, and I don't think anyone's going to touch him again. I mean, funny thing about him was he was worried about SEA being stacked. So he goes, when we are talking on Facebook, he goes to me, SEA is so stacked, dude, I think it's very difficult. So I'm scared to come there. So I asked him a very simple question, that fine, you stay in Europe, you make a team, will you reach TI? And he was like, oh, I don't know if I can reach TI. So I said, then what's the fucking point? Because getting to TI is going to be difficult from any fucking region you play.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy just because SEA has so many teams doesn't mean it's difficult. Yeah, it's competitive, yes, but competitive and difficult are two different things. They're not the same. Every region is competitive. You go to SA, you think SA is easy, fucking Pain Gaming and Infamous are going to tear you a new asshole. It's not easy. No region in the world right now is easy for Dota 2. It's so competitive. Anyone's winning on any given day. And that's what I love about Dota. So yeah, that's just, I mean, it's in the past. It helped us out anyway. We got a little bit of popularity on Reddit, so it's fine.
Alright, and I think that concludes our topics for the day. And we shall now move on to the second half, life and times under esports in India. So with that, I'll begin my first question regarding personal involvement in the scene. So you've been one of the most outspoken critics of a lot of things that has happened in the scene. This is something nobody can argue against. The facts are straight up with that. So this is something, however, that has seen a change in the past year or so. I think that is because of your commitments to NTD as an organization, which I believe is understandable, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, first question, are there any arguments you've made till date that you would like to take back?
No.
Not a single?
No.
No regrets?
No. If I'm talking about something, or if I'm talking against something, I do not regret it. I mean, I'm not bragging on anything, but I think I'm a very logical person, and I've been in the scene long enough to know when to speak about something and when to not. Like, you obviously see I haven't spoken a lot about UCypher because A lot of my friends are in it, and it's their livelihood. All these retired people, it's their livelihood. So I don't want to fuck with it, and that's the main reason I haven't spoken about it a lot. Because if I wanted to make noise, I could have. You know, I can make noise on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I didn't, because yes, entity is one reason. The second reason is obviously this. But if you're asking me if I have any regrets, absolutely fucking not.
Okay. And nevertheless, a second question. Are there any controversies where you regret not voicing your opinions?
Maybe UCypher after 3 years. Maybe. I might regret this.
Okay. Now, a bit more elaborate on the next one. What is your origin story in esports? How did esports begin for you? Where did this passion come from? How did you develop it? Your origin story. Yeah.
Right. So I was never a gamer till I passed my 10th. I hadn't played any game. I was interested in computers, but like gaming wasn't really a passion. So I'm not one of those old school gamers where people have been playing since they were 6, 7. I started when I was 16, because when I started going to college, so I'll tell you the entire thing. The first game I played was PS4. Me and a friend of mine called Pratik, we used to almost every single day. That's the only thing we played. PS4. We used to play SmackDown because the losers would have to get up, and we'd never get up because we were really good as a tag team.
I see.
But then we started getting bored because it was just the same game over and over again.
The skill curve isn't what you would want it to be, you can say.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing new in that game. So we started looking around in the area, and we saw this cafe where they were playing CS 1.6. And then we just sat there, and then we started playing CS. So we started playing a lot of CS again, daily. And then there was a new cafe which was much closer to this cafe. It was like minimum fare if you took a rickshaw. It was like $9 back then. So we started playing in that cafe. I shit you not, I used to spend like morning 10 to night 10. I used to be in that cafe.
Okay.
And
that's
then
where
we
the
used to
itch
play.
came in, you can say.
That's where the itch came in, yeah. Because have you heard about this player Cranko from League of Legends?
Yes, I have.
You have interviewed him, right?
Yeah, I did.
So,
for Red Bull.
Yeah, that's where we met. That's where me and Sam actually met, at that cafe. The cafe was called Ozone. And again, we used to play Counter-Strike. So one day I got so fucking bored because we were playing the same maps over and over again. You know, Untitled and Dust 2, and it was so boring. I just got up one day and I went to my friend and I said, you know what, let's just try Dota. It looks like a shitty game, but let's just try it. Because I mean, as a CSGO guy, Dota looked weird, right?
I can see where the change comes in. Yeah.
It looked like a really shitty game, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm bored, let's try Dota. And that's when we started playing Dota. This guy called, I don't remember his name anymore, but he taught me Dota like
baby steps.
The baby steps, yeah. He taught me the ABCs of Dota. I remember he taught me Zeus was the first champ he said I should play. Because like it's very easy, you just keep spamming your skills. Zeus and Axe were the two champions he taught me. And that's when I saw Sam playing. Because when I actually started getting Dota, I used to see this guy. He used to just randomly walk in. So the cafe had one general area with 20 PCs and one area for 10 PCs where teams used to play. It was like inside with the dark glass. I don't know what it's called.
I'm not getting it either. Anyways.
The dark glass where the light doesn't pass through, so it's like a dark room. And I used to see this guy play. He used to come at random times, and when a team's losing, right, he used to go to the mid laner or the carry, and he used to say, "Arey, utna, main jeeta ke deta hu." He used to sit and he used to win the games, dude. I mean, he was so goddamn good at that point. His SF or his Mirana, he was incredibly good at the game, and it motivated me a lot. Like, I looked at him and I was like, you know what, I want to get this good at a game, because I am good right now, but I'm not that great at the game. And that was 2 years in India, and then I left India. I went to the UK in 2009 for my further education. That's when I don't know how, but I got a beta invite for League of Legends in October 2009. I left India in September. October 2009, I got League of Legends invite. And that's when I started playing League of Legends. In the middle, I also played a little bit of World of Warcraft. So 2009, I started. First season League of Legends, I ended at 700 elo. 700. Have you played League of Legends?
No, I've played a little, but I do not understand the yellow system.
Yeah, so 700 ELO is basically 700 MMR.
Oh,
That's how
okay.
fucking bad it is.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my first season. My second season, I took a straight jump to around 1600 MMR.
Okay, that's more than
And
double.
then I was like, you know what? I was bad at Dota. League, I have started the game since it came out from day one. It's high time. I cannot be fucking bad at this game. I have to improve. I need to get better and better at this game.
Time to be
And
an
season
alpha.
3, I was a diamond, which is 2300 elo. So
Okay.
I can't compare that to MMR. So if you say call it an MMR, it's about 7k
tell
MMR.
the ladders. What all are the...
Yeah, so the ladders is bronze, then gold. So no, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond.
Oh, okay. So you're basically at the
So-
top of the ranks.
Yeah, so back then diamond was the highest you could get. You didn't have so now it's diamond, master, and challenger.
Yeah.
We didn't
okay.
have master and challenger back then. Diamond was the highest you can get. So let's say it was 7k MMR. So going from 700 MMR to 1500 MMR, suddenly jumping to like 7000 MMR was a huge leap for me. And that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to try esports. I'm going to try to be a part of a team.
That's where the rush came in, you can say, for the game, right?
Yeah, because then I
The
felt,
raging passion
see,
that...
I'm a realist. Like,
Okay.
and everybody in esports has to be a realist as well.
Definitely.
Like, you have to look at yourself and evaluate yourself and be true to yourself. Can you make it in esports? You can't be an Archon or a legend or an ancient and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to be an esports player one day. No.
You can
You
either
work
be
for
or
it.
you cannot be. It's as easy as
Yeah, you're either here or you're not here. That's how it is.
Perfect.
Like, if you want to be an esports athlete, oh, that's the word, esports athlete, not
Okay.
cyber athlete. If you want to be an esports athlete, you reach at least what, divine, or you reach somewhere high on that ladder.
Yeah.
Because
Divine is
even
a
though people
necessity.
say, yeah, I mean, even though some people say MMR is just a number, it's so fucking not.
It's
I mean,
not. It's not. We just
it's
have
an
to accept that.
yeah, it's an evaluation of your skill. I mean, people who only spam supports in MMR have reached divine. What's stopping you from reaching divine as a carry? It doesn't make sense.
True.
If you're telling me your teammates aren't good enough or you're always getting trolls, that's not true, because I climbed it, so can you. If somebody else is... I mean, you look at pro players, right? They make a smurf and they are 7000 MMR in 100 games. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Why isn't that possible for you? Wouldn't they get the same trolls and the same AFKs?
Yeah, I
One
think we're
second.
diverting a little from yours. Okay.
Yeah, what was... I forgot the question. Okay, I got disturbed.
Your origin story. Anyway, the few concluding remarks that you'd like to give on your start in esports.
Yeah, and so that's when that's why I diverted. Yeah, so I was a realist. I was like, okay, I'm finally 7000 MMR. I can do it into esports. That's when I joined esports in UK. I played semi-professionally.
Okay.
I didn't place first. I got a couple of podium finishes on LAN back then. I
Oh,
won a
that's
little
nice.
money. Came back, initially got into OG, which was the best team at that point of time in India, Oblique Gaming, as a League of Legends. And my team back then with Nikhil SK was probably one of the best teams I've ever been in. That guy is a beast. And it was like one of the best times of my life. But then carpal tunnel happened and I had to quit
All
playing.
good things come to an end.
Yes. And that's when I realized, you know what, maybe I don't want to leave esports. So I just decided, let's put what I've learned in the UK as education to use a little bit. That's when I came into the management picture.
Okay, I see. That's a nice overall wrap up to that. And now, regarding your managing, we'll take the next question. NeckBreak has been one of the most loved organizations in Indian esports. Like, there's no doubt in that.
Absolutely.
How did that begin and how did that end? Like, that entire affair, what led to its meteoric rise to its subsequent decline, and then you pulling the plug on it?
Well, I joined NeckBreak after Oblique Gaming. When I left Oblique Gaming, NeckBreak came into the picture, and Shagun tasked me with like making India a super team for League of Legends. So the 3 good teams that existed back then, I just took 2 players each from every team, and we made like this really good super team from India. We were the first guys who got salaried and stuff. And since day one, like I was very close to Shagun. Like I used to keep talking to him and appreciate like what he was doing and stuff like that. And even after the League of Legends our team ended and I wasn't a part of NeckBreak for a while, I still was very much in touch with Shagun. And one day he just messaged me saying, you know what, it's not working out. I think I'm going to quit. I'm going to shut down the organization. Like, I don't even have a manager or anyone else to even to somebody to take care of the social media. That's when I said, you know what, NeckBreak has started something that has never been done in Indian esports. You closing right now, this is I think in 2015 or 16, I'm not sure, but I told him like shutting it down right now will, I know you're going to losses and stuff like that, but shutting it out right now will have a huge effect on Indian esports right now, because you are the premier organization in India right now, and you shutting down is going to put off a lot of other people as well.
The ripples that will create are very unhealthy for the scene, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's when you went, can you please help me out? Like, I'll give you a salary. Siddhant Nair, I think, was the manager back then for NeckBreak, but he had quit. He had quit for
AFK
this
game,
team, Illuns.
Oh yeah, Illuns under AFK.
Remember, yeah. So he didn't have anyone to look after NeckBreak, and that's the reason he was going to shut down. So I offered my help. I said, you know what, you don't give me a salary, you don't pay me, that's fine. But it's very important that we keep NeckBreak going on for now. You can't shut it down right now. And as soon as I signed up, I think in a month or two, we qualified for ESL Malaysia, the minors with machine gun and stuff. And I mean, the rest is history. But we finally, again, had to shut it down after our CSGO squad disbanded, and then Dota as well, we had to release the squad. We tried a little bit with Piercing Blow, but again, it's not a very good esports to get into. So yeah, we finally, and then when Entity offered me a position, like I knew a little bit that Entity would offer me a job. So before going and meeting with Neerav, I'd already told Shagun that I feel like Entity is going to offer me a job. So do you want me to stay or can I leave? So he was like, no, this is your future. And I don't know how much longer I can continue, so it's just best you take that job. And yeah, so once I left, NeckBreak was done again.
I think like what you just spoken about now paints a pretty good picture of the good decision making that has been a large part of your career, if you could both be that honest. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, that being said, our next question follows pretty well in that actually. What has been the insurmountable risks that you have taken to reach where you are in esports? There's no doubt that you are at the pinnacle of your career, I believe. Yeah. So the trade-offs, the risks that you would have to take, what would you like to say about them?
I mean, honestly, as a person, I'm very calculated and very, very logical. So I wouldn't necessarily say I've taken any risks. In the past, maybe yes, with the roster and stuff like that. Like I risked taking TMT in my last roster, who was basically a pop star, never played competitive, things like that. But apart from that, like every decision I've taken in my life have been very, very calculative and very based on logic. I'm a very logical person. I don't think with my heart or my dick. I think with my brain. So if I want to decide something, I look at the pros, I look at the cons, and I take a very informed, calculative. I take my time, but I take a very good decision. So I wouldn't say I've taken a lot of risks to be where I am at. Like, you don't need to take risks. You don't need to take that leap of faith. You can just take a very informed decision and still succeed in life. That's how it is.
I see. And we have come to the final part of our podcast. So, final advice on how to not mess up the scene. Something that I think you should do a good job on saying.
I mean, how to not fuck up the scene? Stop trying to be India's first. Number one. You're not India's first. Yeah, you don't have to be India's first to be successful. You can just give... I mean, I can just do a 50,000 ka event tomorrow, give first place 5,000, and it can still be a fucking good event. It's not the money that matters. It's, are the gamers happy? Are the players happy? That's it. That's all that matters. Like, people still don't understand. They want to spend lakhs and lakhs on production and on getting DJs and dancers and organize after party for their esports show. It's just glamour. It's not esports. You don't need all that. Give them good PCs. Give them a nice setup to play on. Give them practice rooms. Give them travel and stay, and do a nice event that's not riddled with delays and network problems, and you're still a successful event organizer. That's what you don't understand. Look at Nordwin, for example. Nordwin is basic, dude. Nordwin's not doing anything special. Like, yes, they have improved in the last 2 years in terms of production and stuff, but it's just basic shit they've been doing for a very long time, and they're successful. The events they do are successful. If they weren't successful, you wouldn't see the Nazara deals and the ESL deals go through.
So at its core, like what you're saying is good management. That's it.
Good management. Yeah, that's just how you don't fuck up. Like, why do you need DJs to play at your esports shows? Why do you need after parties? You don't need all that shit. People are there to play a game.
Sticking to the core.
They're there. Yeah, stick to what it is about. I mean, yes, some people are against cosplay being a part of esports as well, but I totally don't get it. Cosplay is very much an integral part of esports. It's always going to be there. I mean, it's just a part. It's just a different area of gaming, and I think cosplay should be there. But apart from that, I mean, after parties and DJs, ISA did it last year where they invited a DJ and nobody was there dancing. Do you know about it?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Apparently the organizers themselves were dancing on the dance floor because nobody else wanted to dance with them.
That's sad.
I mean, you're gamers, dude. They're shy people. They don't want to dance with you. They just want to play the game and go home. So Nordwin does that. Nordwin gives you a nice setup. You have practice rooms. Yes, there are things that Nordwin could improve as well, like maybe give us a booth or I don't know. There's so many things they could do, but they're doing a good job. I mean, they're at least not bringing shame to the country by doing scam events. So that's just how you don't fuck up the scene, man. Just give the gamers what they want. Don't try to do extra. Don't try to be first. I mean, why do you have to be first to be special? You can just do a generic event and still be fucking successful. That's my point.
So, give gamers what they want is what you'd like to say, I believe, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And there you have it. We've reached the end of the podcast. Anything you'd like to say in the finale?
I mean, thanks for having me. Hopefully.
Alright. It's been our pleasure at ASidCast, and as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, give us feedback. Your comments is what keeps us going. And yeah, and that's it. I'm Soham Rane. I'm with Sid Joshi, and that's it for the Great Indian Esports Raffle episode 3. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye and see you all next time.